Yeah, man, this is cool.
Okay, I'm excited about this today. This is my third episode on my brand new podcast. I have the absolute pleasure to have you, Mr. Erik Stolhanske, on the show. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for having me. I feel honored. Third guest. That's pretty high up there.
The honor is all mine. The honor is all mine. I have to say first before I start that I compiled like a list of questions because, like, you know, Broken Lizard, Super Troopers, everything you guys do is like that's my jam. You know what I mean? So I don't want to make this like I didn't want to make this like a stereotypical interview because it's not. I mean, well, I ask some questions and stuff, but you do enough of those. You know what I mean? So I get that. But so if you see me looking down, this is my cheat sheet. Because I didn't want you to like leave this podcast and be like, "Oh my God, I'm never talking to this dude ever again." You know.
He was texting the whole time. He's looking down.
Yeah, how rude. I love the mustache, by the way. I like this.
Thanks, man. I agree with for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Just, you know, in a few days, that was very nice of you.
I figure if I'm doing a rock and roll podcast, man, I gotta look rock and roll.
You do look rock and roll, and like I said earlier, you got your Hendrix behind you. I see a Super Troopers back there. Looks like you got quite a good vinyl collection in the corner there, too. I dig it.
I love it. Most of my vinyl's upstairs, but I do have some down here, which I keep. My sister gave me this little LP player that comes in like a suitcase.
Yeah.
And I find it to be a little tinny for me, so I took most of my records upstairs where I got the old 70s setup, you know, with the techniques and the old speakers and the wires that connect them, all kind of stuff.
I love it.
Let's talk about you, man. Can we talk about rock and roll?
Rock and roll is, I love rock and roll. It's what I do. But, man, it's you know, just like everybody, it's a weird time right now. And that's kind of how this whole podcast started, the idea, because I'm supposed to be on tour right now.
Sure.
And we're not. And it looks like, the majority of our year has just unfortunately been canned. So I've always wanted to do this, and now I have no excuse. Now is the time to start it.
Well, it's fun. Yeah, we can go back and forth. You can ask me a question about comedy. I'll ask you questions about rock and roll. Because in Super Troopers 2, if you saw the beginning of it, we play a band called Cracklin' Bacon.
Dude.
And that's because we're just huge fans of music and have always dreamed about being in a rock and roll band, but we never had the talent.
Who came up with that name, Cracklin' Bacon, by the way?
Cracklin' Bacon.
It's a great name.
It's a great name. It's a great name. We have these little riffs every once in a while where something will stick, so that might be something from like 20 years ago that we just keep in our little memory banks.
Yeah. You should do a movie now based on Cracklin' Bacon, the band.
Yeah, we should form a band and then make a movie about it.
I mean, you guys did T-shirts. I have one of the T-shirts, and I'm wearing actually one. I was gonna bring it up later, but I'll go ahead and show it. We're talking about T-shirts. I'm wearing my coconut.
Hey! That's awesome. We actually made an LP. This is the closest we got to being rock stars. Is we wrote these songs.
Yeah.
And we recorded them, and Bill Paxton sang them, and then we got to have an LP come out last year, and this is where we felt like it was our pinnacle of as close as we'll ever get to being you.
Oh gosh, I love that you all released that as an LP, because when I first saw that movie, I was like, dude, these songs are genius. I mean, Pina Colada Bird, that's hilarious. I love that.
We had a lot of fun writing those. Yeah. It's fun writing songs.
It is fun writing songs, especially when you can make them fun, you know?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes, like, if we're writing a song that's, like, serious or something, you know, you kind of have to get in that mode to write an emotionally song that's going to connect with people. But when you're writing a song that's just about having fun and it's just about people enjoying cool stuff or whatever, that's when they come really easy at that point.
Like sea shanties and wet panties, you know? Just.
Man, that is so good.
It's so dumb.
No, it's so good. And you were the. I was going to ask, you know, with that movie, you were the fun police.
Yeah.
But you were like the bad guy.
You just gave it away. Ben.
Know, if people haven't seen that movie, then they're not friends of mine.
It's only 18 years old, yeah.
They're not friends of mine. I base my comedy barometer when I talk to people about funny movies and stuff, and I'm like, well, do you like Super Troopers? And if they say, or Beerfest or Club Dread or any of those, if they say yes, then I understand. Then we're on the same wavelength. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
That kind of humor to me is like when you guys did that, it was like a new spawn of Monty Python or something. It was like the best thing. It's the best humor ever, and I'm so glad that you guys do it because, sometimes movies come out and they're comedies and they're written too hard. You know what I mean? Like it's overwritten. Y'all's jokes are like right there. It's like, how do you do that? I don't know. I mean, when you're doing jokes like that and you guys think of stuff like that up, are you just kind of riffing off each other? Like we would write a song. Like if I have an idea on the guitar, hey, check out this riff. Does this suck or not? And then yes, if one of the guys in the band might go, yeah, we're not using that. That's we can do better than that, or that's kind of lame, or we'll stockpile it and we'll come back to it years later.
Sure.
Kind of the way you guys roll too, I guess.
I would say we're probably the closest you compare us to is being in a band.
Yeah.
5 guys, and imagine kind of similar thing. Like for you might come up with a riff. We might come up with a riff, but it's a comedy riff, and you throw a joke out there. And sometimes, tell me if you guys do this. We, if let's say I come up with a joke and we're sitting in a writing session, I go throw it out there, and you don't necessarily get a response from everybody.
Yeah.
But you believe in it. You're like, hold on, this is good stuff. And they're like, all right, get up and act it out. And so then I got to get up and sell the joke. And
Sure.
if I can get 3 of the 5 guys on my side, the joke stays. But if I don't get 3, it doesn't stay.
You're out of there, partner. You're gone.
Get out. It's gone. That joke's gone.
I've done that before too. I've had guitar riffs. I'm like, man, and I feel pretty confident about it. I walk in and I'm like, yeah, I'm about to smoke them with this. And you play it, and everybody's kind of like, well, yeah. And then it's like, okay, maybe I need to get up and like act this out like I was going to play it on stage or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know what you guys need. Then I get mad about it sometimes. I'm like, how can you not like this?
Damn right. It's personal sometimes.
It is personal, but you can't. It's hard to not to take it personal, but you can't be personal, I guess, at the same time because we're all on the same team. We all want the same outcome, the best song, and you guys you want the best jokes.
Yep.
Sometimes
if we really want a joke, we say that we'll staple our balls to walls for it. Like if you're not really persuading them, you say like, you know what, I will staple my balls to the wall for this joke. And then the guys are like, okay, you're passionate about this.
Yeah.
But oftentimes like, I like this joke, but I'm not going to staple my balls to the wall for it.
Right.
And then like, okay, let's just pass on it.
I like that. Yeah, I'm not going to fall on the sword for it. If you like it, whatever. But either way.
Right.
That's awesome. And also speaking of the movie we were just talking about with Club Dread, how did you guys come up with the idea to make that like the horror movie thing? Because obviously most of the stuff there's some intense scenes in that. The first scene when girl grabs the sword and it's like you see it coming off the hand, I'm like, dang. Like, you guys made actually a really great horror movie.
It's funny you said that. Tarantino said he liked it because it's actually a horror movie. It's a comedy, but he's like, it's actually a horror movie.
Yes. It's classic.
So growing up in we were young in the 80s, but, slashers and thrillers and these kind of sex romps were really popular back then. So it was sort of like a fun homage for us to go back to our childhood for these movies that we would stay up late and watch on cable and kind of try to make a little comedic version of it.
Yeah.
Halloween, Friday the 13th, these kind of low-budget films, but put a comedic spin on it. So it's kind of like 10 Little Indians is really what Club Dread is, sort of like on, if you took 10 Little Indians, but you put it in sandals.
Sure, yeah, right.
Right? And then Jimmy Buffett owned the island. You couldn't get off. Like, where can you go where people are getting killed, but you can't get off? Like, a boat drops you there, and you're there for a week until the next boat picks you up.
And here's why that movie is perfect for somebody like me, because I'm a huge Jimmy Buffett fan. I'm a huge horror movie fan and a comedy fan.
Probably like sex romps too, right?
I love it. Like,
you love a good sex romp?
You can't see it in here in my room though. On the walls is covered in like horror movie posters. I'm a huge horror movie fan.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I was like, this is absolutely a perfect marriage of everything that I love. And then you throw Bill Paxton in the mix too, which, man, what an incredible actor he was. What was it like working with Bill Paxton?
Bill was great. We loved Bill as Chet from Weird Science.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to work with him. And he hadn't really seen our stuff before, so he was out with his family, and we got the offer, and so he said he put it on, Super Troopers on his DVD player, put his feet up on the table, and he sat there and watched it. And he's like, all right, I'll make a movie with these guys. That's cool. I mean, he's from Texas. He had this drawl. Man, he's turned out to be a blast. He was kind of a method actor, so he showed up. We went down to Mexico, and we're living this, kind of took over this resort. It was sort of interesting. It was right after 9/11. Yeah. And we were going to go down to Mexico to try to find locations, and we saw this long dock where the opening boat comes in, and we were going to go see if we could just shoot that scene on that dock, because this was like a full-blown, like, 4 or 5 star resort. Sure. And we get there, and they were like, what are you guys doing? What are you guys thinking? We're like, well, we're trying to shoot a film. We're looking for locations, and they said, well, we're at 20% capacity now. After 9/11, kind of it's a little different what's happening now, but after 9/11, nobody was flying.
Right.
Like, sure. We didn't think about it. So this resort down in Mexico had like 20% capacity, and they were just losing money. And we said, well, what would you think about if we took over this resort for like 8 weeks? Like, just took it over. I mean, we'll 100% capacity, and we'll pay you and stuff like that. They're like, done.
That is
so
awesome.
We got to like shoot in this one location. It was almost like, a play where you got to just build this big, gigantic set and then live on it and shoot on it. And so Bill came down. I say this because we got down there early. We rehearsed like you guys would do, right? You get there early, and we're rehearsing, and Bill came down. And he was just in character, right? He's kind of this actor that likes to be in character. So he grows the hair. He's got the outfit, carrying the bottle around, the guitar on his back. He would show up to rehearsals like as his character, which is a great person to hang out with.
Absolutely.
Just this fun-loving kind of Billy, Jimmy Buffett kind of dude, not a care in the world.
Jimmy Buffett meets the dude from, Big Lebowski or something.
That's the guy you want to hang out with all the time.
Yes. And
so Bill was a great dude and that character. So, man, that was a blast. That was probably the most fun movie we've ever had making.
I was going to say that. I mean, it has to be fun. You're on a tropical paradise. You're filming a comedy horror movie. You're kind of, it's like, how does it get any better than that? That's awesome. It's
great. We'd shoot every day, and then the sun was going down, and you go into the ocean. Like 30, 40 of us would just walk into the ocean and just hang out there for like half hour to an hour, and then come in and eat dinner.
I love it.
It's great. But part of the fun thing, and I don't know, I'm trying to relate this to the band stuff, but like we shot Super Troopers, no money, low budget, early project. And we're shooting on the side of a highway, no bathrooms, no catering. Yeah. People were always trying to quit. It was really hard. It was a low-budget independent film. Nobody had any clue what they were getting themselves into. And we thought, man, our next movie, if we could, we got to write it on like a tropical island. I mean, we can shoot it, write it.
Yeah. So. Well, that's the good thing about you being an actor and a writer. You can write where you want to be. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, man, let's write a movie about being in Hawaii or something, or Mexico.
I think that's what Sandler does, yeah.
That's what Adam Sandler does right now, absolutely.
He started getting later in his career. He's like, hey, man, let's write a movie on Hawaii or hanging out with your best friends. Yeah.
Yes, he's got it. Sure. He's got it all figured out.
Smart man, yeah.
That's the same thing, too, though, like with like putting out records. So, like, when we first came out with our first album, same thing. It's, independent release. You don't know how it's going to go over. You don't know. You don't have any money. You got enough money to get the job done in the studio, and that's it. And you kind of put it out there. You put it all out there on the line, and you kind of see how people are going to receive it. And you hope to do a next album. I assume it's kind of like that in the movies too. Like you put your first one out there, you hope you can get to do you hope you get picked up to do a second one. And that's kind of the same way in the music business. And it's weird because you got labels. Back in the day, everybody needed a record label, and that was the way to do it. You couldn't get your music heard unless you had a label. Now, there's so many independent artists out there that are recording albums in their bedrooms, and they're putting it out to the world, and they're the next big thing. And it's like, I think that is such an amazing way to get music out there, just to be creative.
It's incredible. I mean, like you guys have labels, we have studios, and the only way you get a movie out there is by a studio. So let me ask you this, like, I assume it's probably the same. They kind of hold you over a barrel, right? Like you're young in your career, you don't have any leverage, or even like, during your career, like it's either there's a small amount of labels, a small amount of distribution studios, and they basically say, do you want your movie out there? Do you want your record out there or not? And you're like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But now, right? So you're kind of held over a barrel. Like, let's say on Spotify, you guys have like, 10 million. I mean, it's amazing. The reach of you guys, I mean, you're playing arenas and you got Spotify. Could you do that now without a label and have that, be able to be more successful on your own terms with it?
I think, well, you see artists like, what's her name, Billie Eilish, the pop artist. Apparently, yeah, her and her brother apparently recorded that album of hers that won like 1,000 Grammys this past year, in her bedroom, and they did it on their own, and and that is a testament to just going, hey, she knew she had something cool. They knew they were onto something, musically and creatively. They recorded it, they put it out there, and then boom, people connect with it. I think the stereotype of people thinking like the old days in the 70s and 80s with dudes smoking cigars, the record label executive pulling up in a limo, like off Wayne's World or something, where it's like that kind of thing. It might have happened like that back in the day, but now with technology, people can do whatever they want to do. People can make their own movies now, and all of a sudden premiered at South by Southwest or something, and now it's a huge movie. So I think you can achieve that status as long as the music is going to connect with somebody or the movie connects with somebody. At the end of the day, it's all about the product,
Yeah.
And now there's so many easy ways to get it out there.
Interesting. Yeah, it's new frontier.
It really is a new frontier.
Yeah, and both of us are sort of in the same boat right now. Like, we don't know where this is going to go with this coronavirus time-wise, right? I guess you guys can kind of go in the studio because I don't know if you guys social distance or you guys feel like you guys can be safe in a studio, different rooms or things. But, you can't go on tour, right? And we can't necessarily go onto a set right now because it requires hundreds of people in a small space. And so we can write, but we can't shoot. And then even if we shoot, like, when will movie theaters be open again? Or when will concerts be open again? Arenas, So
it's a weird time.
Adapt, right? Kind of find a way to adapt.
I think that's what most people are doing. A lot of bands are doing live streams now, which is great. They can live stream stuff to their fans online, but that's not going to last forever, No, it's a weird thing because luckily for us, we finished our album right at the start. We were in the studio in February and the 1st of March, right at the start of all this kind of in the U.S. starting to take over.
Perfect.
So we got our album finished, but now, it's the same thing. Now we're trying to figure out, okay, well, we hope to still release it this year, but we can't go on tour, and we want a tour to promote the album. So it's like everybody's figuring out kind of, we don't know what to do. We don't know when venues are going to open up of any size. Like, they could tell us right now, hey, you can go play these small bars for 100 people a night, and we'll go do it. We're so desperate to want to go play,
Right.
And I think a lot of bands are like that, but then a lot of stuff is getting pushed off, and these bigger tours, the arena tours, you can't just it's not as easy to postpone that to we'll bump it up a couple months, and that's like a year out planning, So it's really bizarre. It's really bizarre, and a lot of movies now are going just straight to streaming, but I'm a fan. I love going to the theater. I'm just like I'm a physical CD person. I still like buying physical product. So you get the same satisfaction of seeing the movie or listening to the music, but you don't get the satisfaction of going to your local store and getting it, or I don't know. It's just kind of odd. Were you guys working on anything before this? Kind of anything come to a stop for you guys right now, or were you kind of on a break from, or how often do y'all write? I guess.
Yeah. We were also in a very fortunate place. For the past year, we were sort of negotiating with the studio to write a couple films.
Yeah.
One script we had written that they liked, and the other one they were interested in trying to do Super Troopers 3. So for the last year, lawyers are going back and forth, and we were kind of chomping at the bit to start writing. And fortunately, recently we had closed the deal. So now we're in the process of writing Super Troopers 3, and we're addressing notes on this other script that we had finished that we're trying to just keep the ball rolling.
Gotcha.
So we Zoom. So now, what used to be in a room, hanging out, couches, laughing in the same room together, it's via technology, which we're trying to get used to a little bit. It's a little harder.
Yeah.
But we don't want to give up.
We're thankful for technology, but I can only imagine it's just like it'd be like writing a song over Zoom. It's not going to be. You can get it done at the end of the day, but it's not the same as the person to person. You can feel the person's reaction from their energy. And It's just not the same.
Yeah, a lot of the way we write jokes is you throw something out there or something just gets naturally thrown out there and somebody picks up on it. It's like almost this subconscious thing. We know each other for so long, and then the joke doesn't happen until about the 12th riff,
Right.
somebody's just picking up on it, just starts snowballing, but the joke doesn't really kind of reach its form until about the 12th time it's bounced back and forth. So I miss that.
Right. It's the human to human connection. I say let's just
Yeah.
break all the rules.
We tend
and
to
go
write.
do it.
We should just go do it.
I'm
Yeah,
just
but so we get like Iron Man masks. We'll all go get like Iron Man full body protect.
Yeah. And then if your joke fails, you can blame it on this. It was like you guys were just upset over the pandemic. It's a funny joke still. It's like that's what I would say if I had a riff or a song. I'd be like, you guys are just mad. It's a great song. You just don't get it because your mind's somewhere else right now.
That's right. Good comics always blame other people.
Exactly. That's like if somebody sings off key while we're on stage doing sound check, we always give the monitor guy like, "What's up with I can't hear in my in-ears." It's like
You made me off key. Yeah.
Yeah, you made me off key. I can't tell. Guy in the front row's flipping me off. I can't get him out of my head.
So what are those little white things behind you on the floor? Are those foot pedals? That's a cool amp you have.
Over here?
Yeah, the white things on the bottom that look like light bulbs.
That is a sign. It's an arrow sign with light bulbs in it that I've just yet to hang up.
Ah, gotcha. I see it now. I thought it was like foot pedals or something you step on.
I do have some pedals here. Let me get them off my. I got a bunch of pedals over here. This is my music room down here, where I've got some amps and guitars and random stuff that. A lot of stuff I still have to hang up on the walls that I've been lazy and haven't done. And now I'm kind of like, okay, do I do it now or do I wait for the next pandemic or
right?
How's this going to work, There
might be a couple this year. Hey, what city do you live in? You live in Kentucky, right?
Yeah, I'm in Glasgow, Kentucky. We're about 85 miles north of Nashville, so we're close to Tennessee.
Right on.
And you're up in Minneapolis, right?
Yeah, my wife and I are from Minneapolis, so we're self-isolating here right now.
Nice.
So we're not in LA. We just figured we'd be home near family and stuff like that.
Is it cold? Is it snowing in Minneapolis? I always feel like you guys get weird weather like we do.
Yeah, it's like snowing in August.
Yeah.
It was cold, and then it's been this past week's been like 70, and people are just out like by the millions, and you just go around the lakes, and people aren't social distancing or anything. It's just like flocks of thousands of people because they've been indoors all winter.
Right.
But it's supposed to be like 37, 33 degrees the next week at night, not during the day. So
Right.
I'm ready for that little cold spell to be over, and then hopefully we'll be on to summer.
Yeah, I'm ready for it too. Kentucky's kind of been like that. Like
It's been cool there?
Well, the past few days has been nice. Like yesterday or 2 days ago, it was like 80 degrees. Today
Nice.
it dropped down to like 50 degrees. And then, we get like some days where it's nice and some days it wants to rain. It snowed for a day in April.
Are you kidding me?
It's like, can it get any weirder? Like, I don't know. It's just, I'm over it. But same thing. People have started to flock out to the lake here.
Oh
Over
my
the
God.
weekend, it was really nice.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be Derby Day this past Saturday.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And that's a big thing,
Big.
But everybody was out and doing stuff, and so I hope everybody's still being safe. It's like I want to go to Mexican restaurants again. That's really what that's my goal through all of this.
Sure. Did you get your mint juleps on?
I did not do a mint julep, although I just found this out the other day. My wife and I were walking around the back of our house. She likes plants and flowers and things like that, and we have some mint growing. So that's neat.
That's cool.
But I didn't do a mint julep, but we did watch Secretariat, which I'd never seen that, and I kind of felt ashamed as a Kentuckian to never watch Secretariat. It was a great movie.
I got to check it out.
It was a great movie. It's a famous racehorse.
Sure,
then,
sure.
We're going to follow up Secretariat and with Beerfest. We're still waiting on Potfest, by the way.
Yeah, a lot of people are still waiting on that one.
Yeah, I know. Probably waiting for a while on that one.
The two questions I always get asked are, did you really chug maple syrup and Super Troopers, and where the fuck is Potfest?
Yeah.
So Podfest, we kind of originally wrote because we love Willie Nelson.
Sure, who
Like I
doesn't?
said, right? Who doesn't? Right? We're big music fans, and Jay had directed Dukes of Hazzard.
Right.
He became friends with Willie because he played Uncle Jesse, and he told me we were shooting this movie, and he said, "Hey, any chance you'd ever do a cameo?" And he said, "Yeah, just call my manager." And so his bus was driving by, hops off, and we're the only thing. He doesn't drink beer. We're making a movie about beer. He doesn't drink beer. So we had to try to find a way to get in the movie. So we wrote this funny ending for him, coming to Weed Fest, and he swings by his bus, shoots a scene, hops on his bus, heads back down to Texas. And then we kind of thought people might understand that it was just a funny ending.
Right.
But everyone's like, "Where's Podfest? When's Podfest coming out?" Like thinking that we really had shot it already. It was like coming out 2 months later. So we started getting incoming phone calls from Cheech and Chong and Method Man. Method Man came to our office and he's like, "Hey, I want to be in this movie." And we were like,
awesome.
"We don't have
There is no movie. It's a title."
So we had this. It was fun because it was like this multi-generational pot smoking group of people that we had assembled, and we went to Warner Brothers and they thought it was a fun idea, but they're like, we're the studio that makes Yogi Bear.
Right.
So we're hoping some restrictions, get loosened up. Things will become a little bit more nationwide. I mean, right now, like 11 states, I think, maybe more, are legalized. So
right.
Not giving up yet.
The time is coming for that.
That's right. That's right. We're still thinking about it.
You know what I also love about Beerfest is you all had Cloris Leachman in that, which I adore her.
She's amazing.
She's amazing. When she's like warming up I mean, come on. How do you get any better than that? I mean, you don't.
She's so baughty.
Right.
And she said she would do almost anything that we wrote, but there was one joke she wouldn't do. You want to hear it?
Yes.
She said she's about to shoot it, and she said, "I can't do this. I have grandchildren." We had the sausage thing when we wrote that joke about you got to open your throat,
right?
And she's warming it up and doing this whole thing. You write these things and you never think a prop master or something's going to be able to do it, like the bicycle made for five, right? You write it on a piece of paper and all of a sudden the prop master just presents it to you. You're like, what? You can do this? So as a joke, we had written this thing about the sausage, and the prop master came up with an idea to have a retractable sausage. So then Great Gam Gam goes, "You just got to open the throat," and just takes the sausage and starts going like this with it. And so he had built a retractable sausage for her, Cloris.
I love it.
With it.
It's almost like those toy swords that used to stick in. That would, the sword as a kid, you'd put it into your chest or something that would go in and make it look like it's going into your body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she was just about it. Great sport about everything, but that was the one thing she's like, "I can't do it. I have grandchildren."
Right. Anything else I'm good to do. But my grandchildren, they wouldn't understand the other innuendos I'm doing. So
right, everything else they didn't understand.
That crosses the line.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
But she's
That's
great.
Amazing. That movie too, man. That was like because we toured a lot. We toured a lot in Germany, so I don't go to Munich without thinking about that movie alone. Of course, Oktoberfest. We were just there this past year. We were on tour with Alice Cooper.
That's amazing.
Oktoberfest was happening, and of course I'm thinking about Beerfest the whole time I'm there. But did you guys shoot any of that like on location, or was that all Because it looks like some of those little side streets that you all go down those alleys. When you go to, I'm like, I know I've been down an alley just like that before in some weird ass Germany.
I wish I was you. We shot in Albuquerque. We don't get to do nearly as many cool things as you do.
Oh, come on.
We had to go to New Mexico and shoot in Albuquerque and build all that stuff.
I like New Mexico. That's where they did Breaking Bad, Albuquerque.
Yeah. It was amazing. They have tax incentives there. So when we were shooting all these other movies, we're going. Astronaut Farmer just finished. Kevin Kline was shooting a movie. No Country for Old Men came in right after us. Jessica Simpson and Dane Cook were shooting Employee of the Month.
Yeah.
So you're shooting all these people in the hotels and other places shooting around. It's very cool.
That's awesome. So I'm not going to take up too much of your time, too, but I got to ask you, because this also relates back to music, Super Troopers 2, that was all crowd-funded, essentially, right?
Yeah.
And I know a lot of bands are doing and have done the same thing with their albums, which goes back to what we were talking about, like with releasing music independently. If you're, a local band that might not have the funds to go in the studio and record an album for a month or 2 months, they have their fans, send in money, and in turn they get incentives or the album in advance, So I think it's awesome. I think you guys were like one of the first movies that I saw do that. And were you surprised by, like, I saw like you all set a goal, and then that goal was like surpassed like in a matter of hours, because everybody wanted that movie for what, over a decade?
Yeah, I mean, we feel incredibly blessed.
That's incredible. Yeah.
When minute one starts, you don't know. You're going to find out pretty quickly, but you don't know if you're going to have any success or it's going to be a total failure.
Right.
Right? I mean, you could put this goal up. You don't know. You're terrified, and you hit go, and you're just waiting. I mean, you're like, I don't know if anyone's going to want to do this.
Sure.
And so we were just unbelievably blown away when our fans came out of the woodwork and reached our goal within 20 hours.
I thought it was amazing especially because the comedy that you guys are doing in a world of remakes and reboots and comic book movies, which, are all great.
Yeah,
but
they're good.
It was refreshing to see original comedy, being released and on the big screen, because that's what I love. I love, original comedies, original ideas, and not just, hey, let's remake Iron Man or let's remake this movie because we know it's going to be a hit,
I know.
And I'm sure that's probably challenging waters too, being in the movie industry, trying to find your way in the midst of all these other companies that just want to do, like, another Batman or another whatever.
It's hard, studios have found so much success, made so much money on those, that they started dominating.
Yeah.
And they sort of moved away from making low budget comedies, and so it got very hard. And that was one of the reasons we had to crowdfund. Was it's easier to make these big films and make $1 billion opening weekend than to try it's not an independent comedy, but a small comedy.
Sure.
And so that's why we had to crowdfund, because they weren't willing to put up the money at first.
Right. And I think
so
it's amazing.
We had to prove it to them. Yeah.
Well, it's a testament to what you guys have created too as a comedy team, that so many people, want that again. Because what was Super Troopers came out in 2001, I remember when I saw it in the theater, because I saw the trailer. Yep. And then 2018, the cool thing about the number 2, that came out on the same day as our last album, which was 420.
Yeah.
So that was like a big celebration day for us. And what's funny is we were on tour and we had a day off that day, and we told our tour manager to park the bus near a mall or a movie theater that was playing Super Troopers 2. So everybody on the bus went off. We celebrated our album coming out that day, and we all went to the movies that night to see the movie. So it was really cool.
What?
Yeah.
That's so cool, man. The night you guys were in your movie, you guys should be in a bar celebrating your success.
That was the way we wanted to celebrate, trust me.
That's so cool.
And it was awesome. Rob Lowe, I loved his character in that movie too.
Rob's great. I was thinking about Wayne's World. Did he play the record executive?
He did.
Wasn't he that record executive?
He played the slimy record executive, yes.
That's great. He's in all his comedies. Yeah, Tommy Boy, Wayne's World.
He is, man. He's like what was he did like a show growing up. I can't think of the name of it, where it wasn't like a hospital show, I don't think. Maybe it was a hospital show. I don't know. But Rob Lowe is one of those heartthrob dudes, that people probably wouldn't know that, maybe because he kind of has this dark demeanor, not dark, but you know what I mean, like, serious guy. And then you see him do comedies, and you're like, this is great. Yeah,
it's not a side you don't think immediately, because like Outsiders, Young Blood,
yes,
West Wing, but even like younger, probably played more serious stuff. Yeah, like Brian Cox, who was Captain O'Hagan in Super Troopers. The reason he did our small, low budget film was he never gets opportunities to do comedy. Right. He played Hannibal Lecter, and he gets all these heavy dramas, and so every casting director only thinks he can do drama. So he never gets offered comedic roles. And so this opportunity to be in an independent comedy, he sought us out. We were like, of course, this guy's amazing. And they turned out to be funny. I mean, they're great actors, right? They can do both.
That guy is amazing, too. I love him in all of his movies he's done. And he's awesome. That's awesome that you guys got him, too, because he is like, I don't think of him other than anything than a police captain. When I see when I see him in other movies now, I'm like, no, he's Captain O'Hagan. He's biting the soap. I don't know. I don't see him any other way.
Have you seen Succession? He just won the Golden Globe a Golden Globe, I believe, for Succession.
I remember watching him win that, and I was like, good for him. You know what I mean? Because that dude, he was also in that what was that movie Red, I think, with yeah. He's a badass.
Badass.
You guys bring in the heavyweights, man.
Well, we gotta ground it. Like we're not stage actors from like Yale or anything. So we gotta have like a real heft. We have to have a heavy actor to anchor it, and then we can just kind of fly around them. And
speaking of Yale, but you went to Colgate, right?
Yeah, we all did. Yeah.
Yeah, because I read Jay's book last year, or when it first came out. Right. Terrific book. Yeah. And so it was really interesting to see how you guys like all started together growing up, like, because even as a huge fan of you guys as I am, I didn't know a lot of that stuff. So I think it was really cool and insightful to know that you guys started doing comedy stuff at schools and just growing up together doing improv. That's what me and a bunch of my friends would do growing up. And that's why I think I connect, and I think you guys are so great, is because you could tell a lot of it's improv. A lot of it's bouncing stuff back and forth. It's not totally scripted, maybe. Maybe I'm wrong by assuming that. But when I watch y'all's stuff and I see your comedy stuff, I'm like, this all cannot be 100% scripted. This has got to be a lot of off the cuff. These are just naturally funny people.
Well, it's a great compliment you said that, because it is 100% scripted, because we only had time. Like, when we shoot those early movies on film, and time is so valuable.
Sure.
And so we would, the chemistry that we had in writing was what was valuable. And then we wrote it down on paper, memorized it, so we'd only do 1 or 2 takes when we were shooting, so we could shoot the most amount of time in one day. But I think it's that chemistry, and it's probably the same with you in a band, right? Like, right. You have to have that chemistry with the people that you grew up with and know so well, to be able to just have that trust in each other and just know what the person's going to do next, and you're kind of reacting off it.
That's true. And I didn't think about it that way, because sometimes we might play something live and we'll go into a jam or something, like we talked about Hendrix a minute before we started. We've jammed Foxy Lady and Purple Haze before, and literally it wasn't even on our set list, but one of us will start playing Purple Haze, the rest of us just kind of kick in, we fall into it. People afterwards would be like, hey man, that was a really cool version of that. Did you guys, rehearse that? And it was like, honestly, that was the first time we did it was tonight, But it's the same thing, the chemistry, knowing what the next guy's going to do. And, that's why some bands are, and comedy groups, some work and some don't. You have to have that. That's the most important thing.
I agree.
Last thing you want is a bunch of lame people telling jokes, because it doesn't work. It just doesn't work, and you don't want lame people playing music either, because it's not believable at that point.
A certain amount of trust that you build over years.
Right. What kind of music are you listening to a lot now? What are you doing during your quarantine? Are you jamming records, or what have you been doing a lot of your time?
I did. I've been grabbing some LPs here and there. Though I think the last couple I got are some old ZZ Top records.
Sweet. Love ZZ.
Yeah, man. Love Billy Gibbons.
Nice. They had a great documentary on Netflix, too.
Really?
The ZZ Top documentary. It's very good.
Oh, I got to check that out.
Yes. It talks a lot about Eliminator, which was obviously a huge ZZ Top album. That was most of the hits. And what's funny is they talked about how a lot of their friends and some colleagues in the industry told them that they maybe shouldn't release that album because it was so different for them versus their 70s stuff that they had done, like LaGrange and stuff. In the 80s, you have different sounds. You get the synthesizers, you get the drum loops, and they were like, I don't know, boys. Yeah. And they were like, maybe you shouldn't release this. Maybe this is going to be detrimental. And they just rolled the dice with it and said, no, I think we're onto something here. We believe in it. And then, kaboom, one of the biggest albums, obviously their biggest album of the career.
Yeah. I kind of am drawn a little bit more to that older 70s kind of hard Texas blues, but that album is pretty damn successful and good stuff.
Oh, I love Rio Grande Mud. Tres Hombres is one of my favorite albums of all time.
Tres Hombres, that's what I just got. Yeah, I love it.
Tres Hombres is one of my favorite albums of all time. It just sounds cool. It sounds Texas. You know what I mean? It just sounds that way. I don't know how to describe it. I guess that's the cool thing about music. It has stuff you just don't know how to describe it when you try to talk to somebody about it. Really.
How about you? What's your last LP or DVD or CD you just picked up?
Let's see here. Well, a couple of days ago was May 4th, obviously, so it was Star Wars all day. Huge Star Wars fans here. And so that was on the TV. And then as far as music, I'm really all over the place. Like, I will listen to Taylor Swift and Bob Marley, but then I'll turn it on something super heavy, like I'll listen to some metal stuff. But then I love gospel. I love gospel music. And then I'll listen to the Grateful Dead. And I'm like, it's so random,
Yeah, I totally agree. My wife and I went to Cuba this year, so we may have a Cuban song on that we like or an album, like Spotify throwing some Cuban channel. And then we saw Ray Charles was on an old SNL the other day, so then we saw Ray Charles. I'm like, God, I forgot how great this guy is.
Right.
And then this band Blackstone Cherry fucking rocks.
Yeah,
Lonely Train,
they're
Stay.
Did
you write the riff of Lonely Train? I love that riff.
Thank you. We wrote that. Actually, this is kind of funny. We wrote that song in 2005, and we were being funny when we wrote it. So, it comes in like kind of like and it stops and starts,
Yeah.
And we wrote that being funny. We were trying to be like acting like a metal band because, we're not a metal band, but we're trying to play really hard and fast and just stop and start and stop and start,
Yeah.
And we were just doing it to be goofy. And then we were like, wait, this is kind of actually cool, maybe, if we put it, put it together. So we did it. We wrote the song. And then we had a couple people, once we turned it into the label and management, they were like, man, that was our first ever single because it was on our first record. And management said, I think we're going to go with Lonely Train as the first single. And we had some other friends of ours that had heard it because they'd just come to watch us practice, And they said, I don't know, that's kind of a weird song to start with, that's kind of weird, But lo and behold, it goes out. It was top 10, and we were like, so again, we wrote that song trying to be funny,
right?
And now we try to recreate it because everybody's like, "We want Lonely Train." It's like you can't, Sometimes you capture lightning in a bottle. I don't know if that was lightning in a bottle necessarily, but you do something, you don't think it's going to go anywhere. People love it, and they want more and more of it. And it's like I can't recreate it. We were 15, 16 years old when we did that. It's like how do we do that? How do we do that again?
Yeah, I know 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys can, I'm sure with stuff you guys do, people are like, we want that again. We want a carbon copy of that. And it's like, you don't want to do that because you're a creative person. You want to grow and make it different, all while trying to stay true to what brought people to the party in the first place.
Yeah, it was really hard. I mean, growing up as we were not growing up, but we were a sketch comedy group right after we graduated, and we loved different characters. And you see like Monty Python trying different movies, or on SNL, it's like actors trying different characters. So we loved trying different things. And then Super Troopers came out. It was successful, and everybody expected Super Troopers 2 right afterwards, or something exactly the same. But we did Club Dread, which was about as opposite as you could do. And it didn't do very well. People wanted Super Troopers. So that's exactly what you're talking about. People have this expectations of like saying, give me this, and then you try something else. And it's an interesting creative process.
Sure it is. Well, Club Dread is a cult classic.
I'm glad you liked it.
No, I of course liked it. Pina Colada Berg is on rotation all the time. It's on rotation all the time. Man, I'm not going to keep you much longer, but I do have to ask you one thing or a couple things. You probably get asked this all the time. I need to know what is one of your most favorite moments or memories of filming any of your movies?
Any of them, huh?
Yeah. I know it's a hard question. That's like people asking us, like, when we do interviews, like, what's your favorite song you've written? That's hard.
It's hard because you love them all.
You love them all. Otherwise, we wouldn't write them, or you wouldn't put them on an album if you didn't love them. But I guess when people always ask us, what's your favorite moment on stage or what's your favorite moment of recent history from concerts, that's easier for me to answer because I can go, well, last year we played a great show here, but I didn't know if on set you ever had something that you just thought, man, this is fantastic, and maybe that feeling hasn't been recreated or maybe it has. I don't know.
Well, I think when we were talking about Club Dread, the idea of getting to work with certain actors, I think has been my favorite experience. Maybe if I could have like a collective experience,
Right.
like every movie, like you said, we try to hire somebody that kind of anchors the movie or has a heft, and these guys show up on set, and like Rob Lowe shows up, and you're like, oh my God, Tommy Boy, Austin
Right.
Powers, Youngblood, all these, and then you get to hang out with them and act them in a movie, and that's like a high. When Brian Cox, I remember, like he had just come off touring Bombay. He had toured. It was touring India, playing like King Lear, and all of a sudden he shows up on our set.
Yeah.
You get to sit down and talk to him, and you're just like, I don't know, a kid in a candy store, So every time, I think whenever that actor shows up on set, and maybe it's like when you're touring with Alice Cooper, and you're like, oh my God, you wrote Schools Out for the Summer, and you get to like experience touring with someone like that. To me, that's high.
Yeah, and you're trying to play it cool, and because you don't want to be like a total goon,
Yeah.
much like me right now talking to you. But then it's like you want to play it cool and you want to be casual, but then the whole time you're like, I can't help it. This is kind of surreal, It's a surreal moment standing next to somebody that maybe you've looked up to or an artist you've looked up to. It's a cool feeling.
It's fun, yeah. I've enjoyed this interview. It's been great. I respect you guys on, and yeah.
Well, I appreciate it, and
success.
I know all my friends and everything on our bus, trust me, we quote you guys. You guys have become part of our vocabulary. Like the way that we talk and our jokes are all based on Broken Lizard, because like I said, that's how I know if I'm friends with people or not. If they get that type of humor, then we can gel. If they don't get it, then I'm like, well, you don't get comedy as far as I'm concerned,
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well,
I appreciate it.
We're music fans, and so it's cool.
Well, thank you. And I love that 38 Special, that you all had 38 Special do the theme. We did a show with them one time. I didn't realize they had done that song. Like, obviously, I heard the song in the movie, and we played a show with them. I heard them kick into it live, and I was like, you are kidding me. And they nailed it. And they gave a big shout out there, like, we did this song for a movie called Super Troopers. We're going to play it. It's called Trooper with an Attitude. And I was like, man, this is badass.
Well, it was so cool to get them to, growing up, we loved 38 Special, high school, even before that.
Sure.
They were gigantic. And so to have them be able to do this soundtrack was so cool, hanging out with them when they wrote like an original song for the movie.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And then I went to the concert and they played that, and I thought maybe they played because they knew I was there. I didn't know that they would just play it while on tour. So to hear that, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about that. That's so cool.
They definitely did. We actually played with them 2 different times, and both times we played with them, they have played that song. So
wow.
I
actually heard that they have a live version on Spotify, and so that was the first time I kind of reheard it after like 10 some years, and that's a pretty kick-ass. They extend it with a really good guitar solo, and they got some good energy with that.
It's killer. It's killer. And it's like rock, it's like heavy for them, which is great.
Yeah.
That's why I was surprised. I was like, man, good for them, good for y'all. Bringing that. So I guess I'll just await the phone call for us to write the next song.
That's right.
I don't know. Yeah. No, I'm teasing. Hey, Erik, man, thank you so much for doing this. You're a gentleman for taking a chance and taking your time to do this podcast. You didn't have to do it, and I appreciate it. And as a fan of what you guys do, it really means a lot to me.
Thanks a lot, man. We'll keep see us again on social media, and hopefully, if anybody's out there checking out, come follow just Google Erik Stolhanske social media thing, and hopefully we'll give you some updates on when we get to shoot our next movies or what's coming up.
Yeah, and because you're on Instagram, Facebook, you're everywhere, and you're always posting stuff. You posted some cool merch stuff the other day, some hats you got in. I watched that. Yeah,
we got these Johnny Chimpo hats that just came out with Grassroots, is a company that we work with. BrokenLizard.com has a bunch of merch. And then the Chive, we just did last week, we just did a partnership with the Chive. We got a bunch of cool new Super Troopers Beerfest Broken Lizard t-shirts that we're doing with the Chive.
Awesome. I love it. Is the Coconut Pete album still available for people to get?
It was so popular, I think all the LPs sold out, but I think you can get it digitally.
Gotcha. And they can get the shirts. They got to get it.
I love that shirt. I got that shirt myself.
They got to get it.
This one's got sand in it. This was like a cool collector one. I don't. Might take too much time to open it. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but they made this with sand in it.
Like actual sand on purpose.
Yeah.
I love that.
They made it with like all these different like colors, like pina colada berg and coconut and stuff. And this one had sand. You got some serious packaging going on. So that's why you buy them, right?
I love that.
Okay, I don't know if you can see that, but
And
they have
that's cool.
sand in the record.
Now that's cool.
Isn't that awesome?
You guys put out cooler records than people. I mean, come on.
It's
You're-
fun, man.
you're ahead
This
of the
is-
curve.
I'm just happy we got to honor Bill.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I saw Twister 1,000 times in the theater. So
Twister, he's great.
now, so on that note, I'm gonna go make me a pina colada.
There you go.
Now I'm thirsty for one, and we're gonna watch Club Dread tonight at our house in honor of that.
Oh man, you guys are the best. Thanks, Ben.
Hey, thank you very much, and we look forward to y'all's new releases, and we'll be following your social medias for any kind of updates on that. So, and you stay safe and healthy during this crazy nuts time we're in.
You too, man. Best to you and your family.
I will. Have a great night, buddy.
Thanks, bud. Great talking to you.
You too.